You know, intelligent machines are absolutely everywhere. They're changing how we work, our health, our entire lives. But with every single breakthrough, this really big question keeps popping up. Is all this tech a force for good? Or is it just creating a future where a handful of people win and everyone else, well, doesn't?
I mean, on the one hand, the promise is just incredible. For companies, for us as customers, AI can be a total game changer, creating value, solving problems, making everything more efficient. But then, there's the other side of the coin. The exact same tech can amplify bias, threaten our jobs, and invade our privacy in ways we've never seen before.
It's a real paradox, isn't it? It opens up these amazing doors for some while creating huge risks for others. So what is the real story here? How can these smart machines be both a miracle and a menace all at once?
Well, to figure this puzzle out, we might need to look at it from a totally different angle. Maybe the big question isn't just what AI is, but a much more powerful one. Who is it really for?
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get past that simple friend or foe idea. Then, we'll learn to think like a stakeholder, get a handle on what these machines actually are, break down the great tech trade-off, and finally, ask the biggest question of all: who gets to decide our future?
All right, let's jump into the core idea. If we really want to understand AI's impact, we've got to stop focusing only on the tech itself and start thinking about every single person who has some skin in the game.
And that brings us to this really important word, a stakeholder. Now, this definition from way back in 1984 says a stakeholder is anyone who can affect or is affected by what an organization does. So we're not just talking about investors here. We're talking about employees, customers, suppliers, you, me, all of society.
This whole theory really comes down to two big ideas. First, interests are all connected. Kind of like gears in a machine, they have to work together. The value a customer gets is directly tied to the work an employee does. And second, and this is the huge one for AI, there are always trade-offs. Think of it like a seesaw. A decision that gives one group a big boost might come at a cost to another.
So, keeping that stakeholder idea in our back pocket, let's actually look at the tech itself. Because to get a grip on the trade-offs, we first need to understand what makes these machines so darn different from everything that's come before.
There are 4 things that really define them. First up, autonomy. They can make their own calls without a human pressing a button every time. Second is learning. They don't just follow a set of rules. They actually get better and smarter over time with more data. Third, we have inscrutability. This is that famous black box problem, where sometimes even the people who built the AI can't tell you exactly how it got to a certain answer. And finally, materiality. The fact that this tech can actually exist in the physical world, as a robot on an assembly line or a self-driving car.
Now you put those 4 things together and you get some incredible potential. But, and this is a huge but, potential is not the same thing as guaranteed value. Just because a machine can learn and act on its own doesn't automatically mean the result is going to be good for everybody.
And that brings us to this idea of affordances. It's a fancy word for a simple concept. An affordance is just what a technology offers you the ability to do. It's the machine's potential. For example, a sorting algorithm affords you the ability to screen thousands of job applications in minutes.
But whether that potential ever becomes real value, well, that depends entirely on us. It gets filtered through 2 very human layers. First, our dispositions. How do we feel about it? Do we trust this thing, or are we scared of it? And second, adoption. Do we actually decide to use the technology and what it offers, or do we push back against it?
Okay, so when you combine the machine's potential with our human reactions, that's when you get to the real heart of it all, the great tech trade-off. This is where one stakeholder's win can often be another's loss.
Let's just take employees, for example. For a writer or a designer, an AI assistant can be a massive gain. It can spark ideas, boost creativity, make them better at their jobs. But for a worker on a factory floor, seeing more robots roll in is a direct loss. It means more job insecurity, and that has a real negative impact on mental health. Same tech, 2 totally different worlds.
And it's the exact same story for us as consumers. Talking to a chatbot about a sensitive or embarrassing topic, that's a clear gain. But that trust just disappears when we're talking about our health. A lot of us are really hesitant to take medical advice from an AI because we're afraid it just can't understand our unique human situation.
And this table really lays it all out, right? You can see that push and pull for every group. For consumers, you get the convenience of chatbots, but you lose that trust in critical areas like healthcare. For employees, yeah, new AI tools can make you a superstar at work, but automation can also lead to job insecurity and even loneliness. And hey, even for the firms themselves, going digital makes them tougher, but leaning too hard on robots can actually kill the human spark you need for real innovation.
So here's the absolute crucial point. You can't figure out the true value of AI by only looking at the gain column. That's only half the story. The real value is the net result. It's what's left over after you add up all the good stuff and subtract all the bad stuff across every single person involved.
And all of this leads us to the final and honestly, the most important question. If AI's value is this tricky balancing act of wins and losses, then who's the one tilting the scales? Who gets to decide our future?
The biggest thing to take away from all this is that a technology's destiny is not written in stone. Its impact isn't locked in by its code. It's a constantly shifting balance and ongoing negotiation between all the different people and all their different interests.
There's this quote that just nails the challenge perfectly. The real work isn't just about building smarter and smarter machines. It's about managing all these competing needs. It's about the task of keeping the varied stakes moving in roughly the same direction and to keep them in balance over time.
Ultimately, it's pretty simple. If we actually want to build a future where technology serves all of us, we have to start by asking the right questions. We have to look beyond just the shiny new features and consciously, deliberately, consider everyone.
So, I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. If the future of AI really is a negotiation, take a good look around and ask yourself who has a seat at that table right now, and maybe even more importantly, who's being left out.